Today's subject is Stump the Old Guys. So who has a good question for Stump the Old Guys? Oh, we're off to a rip-roaring start. Who? Go ahead, Darren. I only did this once, and that was installing a 55-foot long, 10 feet wide Pepto-Bismol pink, 2-bedroom, 1-bath mobile home on some land that my family owned. We did it from scratch. And back then, there was no school fees because it was used mobile home. Today, you would not be able to install that. I would say you start with evaluating your land for demand. Is it a good place for a family to live, and will you be able to quickly get it sold? Then the next criteria is going to be building department. What does that city say? And is it a place you want to have a rental? Unless you're just flipping. And is your structure to do a single space mobile home park, or is your structure just to do a rental? I will tell you, a single space mobile home parks I find a lot more sexy. Yeah, that's correct. It's where all you keep is the dirt. So if I was in that situation, I'd install a nice septic tank for them and a well or city water, depending on what's available there. If I had obviously, if it's rural, you're probably going to have a septic tank. I include the septic tank and the well with the purchase of the mobile home, and I finance that, and I give them a nice 99-year lease with a 4% annual escalation clause on the dirt. Yes.
So I have a question tagging along with that.
Okay.
If people are looking for land that maybe they want to put a mobile home on, are there different things that you're looking for that would make a piece of land a good candidate for that?
Demand,
Yep.
a friendly building department, and code enforcement department would be the two top criteria, in my opinion.
Okay. How about, does it matter if it's a dirt road, paved road, gravel road?
People live on dirt roads, paved roads, and gravel roads.
Okay.
Obviously, if you have to wash your car every once a week because you live on a dirt road, that may negatively impact the value of that housing. If you want to raise a pig, that may increase the value of a dirt road. I don't know. Well, it would certainly be a good use of the asset we all have here, is to talk to people and to go talk to that department and see. One here, two in the back, and then three was over here somewhere. Yeah, that guy you don't know much about. Okay. I can elaborate on that. You can get financing on that house. You cannot get an FHA financed home. There are many advantages, in my never to be humble opinion, of having an older mobile home as a lender, because they can't take that my nice expensive 9% note to their credit union and cash it out for a 6% loan from their credit union. So I like the older ones. And no, once you've moved a home that's been installed, if you move it, you can't get FHA financing.
This is probably a good segue into Andy. Where would a good place be to go ahead and find financing for such a property like that?
Oh, I have a good answer for that. Be here at 3:30 every Wednesday. Bring your deal because there are people in this room who have money in their self-directed retirement accounts, in their Mad Money jar, in a number of locations who will happily finance that deal for you.
Yep. And in case you don't believe that, let's raise your hands if you are a lender. Yeah.
You realize that's most of the room. Who's in a deal in this room at Exchangers or at the deal? We keep changing the damn name.
Yep.
The deal room. Come on, guys. Have you done a deal alone in the deal room? Right. That's almost half the room, too. So, next question. Yeah, you had your hand up. No, you had your hand up 5 minutes ago. That's why I gave you number one. See, you were just messing with me. Okay. Evan. And I have seen that. By the way, those of you didn't hear Evan, although he is generally loud enough to hear, is find out what the specifications are. In areas, there are areas in Riverside County where if it's over 5 years old, you're not moving it in. There's areas where if it's over 10 years old, you're not moving it in. That number changes across the county and they act like it's in the code. It's not. It's just the guy on the other side of the counter and his opinion. So that's why I said find a friendly jurisdiction. And the more insane our government is about our non-affordable housing situation, the more they're going to make available and let us bring in older stuff. But you can almost always put an older home in an established older park. Is there anyone who has a question about balloons? Evan. I'll let Goodwin take that one. That's a low-hanging fruit. Squirrel.
All right. All right. So, who invests in real estate for excitement? Raise your hand.
Does entertainment count?
All right. Because I can tell you right now, the reason why you might have excitement is because there's problems. Okay. And do you really want to go into real estate and have problems? Or do you want to go ahead and do anything that has problems? You really want investments to be boring. You don't want to have problems. You want to be able to sleep at night. You actually want to have time, free time to go ahead and do the things you want to do, not have a list of things you have to do. To that end, I can attest right now, my life is very exciting. Okay, so I know this is a real estate investment club. I don't want to scare everyone of what's going on that I'm dealing with right now. Okay, but I would tell you that you must perform your due diligence. You must make sure that deal that you think is a deal really is a deal. Talk to other people, get their opinions on it. If you have not, and I would use lending as an example, if you have not lent before, talk to an experienced lender. If you have not done a deal as a lender before, Even partner with an experienced lender. Shadow them, look at the paperwork, and have them explain everything in there. Question everything that is being done. Why is this being done? Is there something else that should be part of this process that is not? And ask why. Ask why everything is being done the way it is. And find another lender and then question them. Learn from their practices why they do the different things that they do. Okay? Because you want your life after that loan is done to be boring. You want to go ahead and check once a month, see that payment has come in, and then check again the following month. Okay? And when you do 2 loans, look at when those loans are scheduled to be paid. And if you get them all scheduled to be paid around the first of the month, the rest of the month you basically have free time. Okay? And ask me how I know that, because I will schedule loans to have payments all through the month. Okay? Just because I want to see that income coming in constantly. But that means I also have to check all the time too. Okay, if you're always checking to see if one payment has come in and checking daily that's a lot of time. Okay, schedule your things to make things easier for yourself. Make your life as boring as possible. Boring is good. Anyone have questions along those regards? Good.
The question was, if you are a new lender and you have a borrower who is beginning to have problems, what's your first reaction? Mine is to pick up my telephone and call him on the phone and be entertained by what the current story is. Nick used to say, what would we do for entertainment if we didn't have tenants and borrowers?
So I will also add something onto that. Sometimes you will get into deals where payments are not made until the deal is sold or refinanced. What's the problem there? Yeah, what if it never sells? What if it never gets refinanced? When do you get paid? Okay? So, one of the things that I paid good money for in learning how to lend by someone who I consider my dear mentor, who has since passed, he says, always insist on getting monthly payments. Why? Because every month you have a green light or a red light indication of whether this is going along the way it should be going. And if you don't get that payment on a monthly basis and you wait 6 months, a year later, whatever that maturity date is on that loan, and you only find out at that point there's a problem, isn't that a little late to go ahead and find out? Yeah.
I have a quick poll. Who got into this industry because they heard they could be a millionaire in a minute, and that's why they're here chasing a dollar bill or a big pile of dollar bills? Okay. Who got in? Who got into this industry because they want their time to be their own instead of having to punch the clock? Many people forget that's the reason. And I want all of my investments, all of my job, my interaction with people to be ELF. It's ELF. It's easy, lucrative, and fun, or I don't want to do it.
Okay. We had another question
Yeah,
in
the back here. Yeah. I think you have a misunderstanding about the priority of liens. If you are the first lender on a piece of real estate, just a generic asset, and there are second, third, fourth, fifths below you, you have all the control. They have no control. If you you decide I'm going to foreclose, you will extinguish all of theirs. Whoever's in second position will have a claim against any excess proceeds should it sell for more than you're owed at the auction. But they can't stop you from foreclosing unless they jump up front and say, oh, no, I'll keep it current. Then you're getting your payments. They were delinquent. Okay, none. No, you need to do a formal foreclosure, and that will extinguish all junior liens. And as soon as you file that, they have the ability to jump in and say, oh, no, I'll bring the loan current. Evan. Sure. No, I think that's a great question. I'm actually just meeting with an attorney next week on Tuesday because we're going to foreclose on a house in Arkansas where we've got some borrowers who did us wrong. We're going to be taking the house. And because it's in Arkansas, we're going to get a deficiency judgment as well because the house will not sell for what they borrowed. They had multiple times offered us a deed in lieu, but if we took the deed in lieu, that would mean that they had made us whole, which they clearly hadn't. Okay, which word? Deed in lieu. So, to avoid a foreclosure on somebody's credit record, they will frequently say, well, I'm just going to tender the property. I'm going to give you a deed in lieu of foreclosure. It's basically a quitclaim deed where you are acquiring any interest that person has in that property with no guarantees. If you accept a deed in lieu, that does not extinguish the junior lenders. So now you're on title, and the second is now in first position. Yes. Property, they borrowed the money to acquire and rehab, took that money and spent it on something else. So, okay. Who here, if they're a lender, expects a personal guarantee from every borrower? We don't just lend to entities. If you're going to borrow money from me, you're going to sign personally on that loan as well as your LLC. I'm happy if we put your LLC on the note, but you're going to sign as well.